mute themselves. And also on accessibility issues, you can turn on the live captioning. If you go under 3 dots, you click on them and it's done automatically. So I'm Helen, I'm the Policy and Advocacy Officer at Inclusion Europe, and I'm here with Gerlinde. She will handle the technical aspect of this online event. And there's also behind the scenes Barbara, who's been handling the project on Inclusion Europe's side and organized this webinar. The My Talents for Diversity project is a partnership between the Antwerp Management School in Belgium, Plena Inclusion in Spain, and FBIT in Estonia. It's also funded by the European Union's Rights, Equality and Citizenship Programme, and the aim is to increase the participation of people with intellectual disabilities in the open labour market. The project started in 2019, and we have already produced some material on diversity management, such as guidelines for employers, videos on job coaching, reasonable accommodation, customized employment, and others. I think that in the chat, there's the link to all those material. You can find them on the website, and also there's a YouTube channel. And today we're happy to welcome Rytmus from Czechia. Rytmus has been working for several years on supported employment of people with intellectual disabilities in the labour market. And to talk about their work and share examples of inclusive employment, we will have today Veronica and Martin, and they are both consultants at Rytmus. And later on, there will also be Ivo joining us. He's a self-advocate. Before we start, I would also like to say that if you have any questions, you can ask them in the chat, and we'll have a Q&A session after our speakers' presentations. So without further ado, I would like to give the floor to Rytmus and to Martin.
Okay, thanks a lot. There is a presentation and someone will...
Yes, we'll start the presentation.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Is it me who is controlling it? Yeah.
No, it's us. So tell us when you need to change the slide, and we'll do so.
Okay. So should I start like this,
yes,
or will you play it? Okay.
Go on.
Okay, so I'm the guy on the right side. Veronica is with me, and Ivo will join us in a few minutes, couple of minutes, I guess. I hope. Okay, so in the second slide, you can see the map of the Czech Republic. And
I think we have a technical issue.
Yeah, today is probably cursed because we had the technical difficulties too. So
I think it's working now. Can you?
Yeah, it's good.
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. You can see the map of Czech Republic there. Rytmus was founded in 1994, and since that time, it developed 3 branches. In Prague, you can see with the number 1. Then in the region of Karlovy Vary with the numbers 2. It's a little bit like geography of Czech Republic now. And the third one we opened this year in Brno. We support students and people in general with intellectual disabilities, and we provide for services, supported living, transition program. We also support supported employment and social rehabilitation in general. And we are going to talk about supported employment. It's on the next slide. Yeah. Yeah, this one. Thank you. So we start to cooperate with the person, and we plan meetings. It's every week or every 14 days, and we firstly ask about their job preference, and we plan according to this preference. We plan what we are going to do with them. Yeah, we are searching for the job. Yeah, mainly it's at the meetings, and on the second slide, or it's
Next
going
slide.
to, yeah, next slide.
Thanks.
Please note, thank you. We are answering job offers with them, making CVs, making motivational letters. Then we are supporting them to answer and address these advertisements. We are also helping with them at the interviews. But before finding the right job, there are some ways how to search for the job.
Yeah, and the way how to search the job we can see on the next slide, for example, slide number 5, and we call it the direct or face-to-face job search. And that means that we go to some location that we think is the most suitable according to our client, and we try to ask for a job, for example, someone who we think is interested in employ someone. Okay, thanks. The next one. What we use is the social media. We use the LinkedIn, which is usually used for contact someone from HR or to make some first initial contact with someone who might be interested in, because sometimes it's difficult to find emails or phone number or even some contact for someone. So we try to find them in LinkedIn, and then we contact them, and then we try to persuade them or to agree on the short meeting. Thanks. The next one is Facebook, and we use this now like once a month, and that's usually when someone is looking for a job for a longer time. Then we talk to him about whether he wants or she wants to advertise himself or herself on a Facebook. We write a short article where we write what he or she is looking for, and then we put it on our Facebook and we try to promote the page as much as we can. It helps. We already found some jobs or at least interviews, or we recommended someone else not from our service. So it's something that we are trying to do now, but not that much, like as I said, like once or twice a month. Thanks. Another one. It's a labor office. Labor office is the state governed office that it's usually, or it should offer some employers to our clients, and usually it doesn't work like that, but we cooperate with the labor office mainly because of unemployment benefit when someone works and or has the opportunity to get some money from state because, for example, had social insurance in before. So then we cooperate with labor office on this side. Thank you. Job market, that's something that we started like maybe 2 or 3 years ago. There are job markets where employers have their own offers, and they usually looking for someone when they are there. So we try to accompany our clients and go there and probably try to convince the employers to work with us. It's also a good place to get some contact and to get some infos about employer Thanks.
Yeah. When the person is trying to find the right match, the job they like, we also use job shadowing. It's in the situation when the person is not sure if it's the right job for him or her. We have two types of job shadowing. One is when the person is going just to have a look at the job, at the self-advocate that is already working at some place, and it's a similar job position that they want to do. And the second one is job shadowing that they can also try the job. So they and also the boss would know if it's the suitable job. So the person is there also for the time he or she wants to work. So it's like working normally in the work, but it's just the practice. It's the try on, and it's normally for 1, maximum 3 days. Thank you. Yeah, there is also unpaid practice that is more or less 40 hours. It take 40 hours, and it's almost the same as I already told. The person can try it on and get also good practice in this and better view if he or she wants to do this. Thank you.
Okay, networking with the person and the family is something that we are doing for longer period of time, and we usually do this after the time that we cannot find any suitable job for like maybe 6 months or maybe more. Then we try to invite people from closest family, maybe, or maybe even from other services or friends, or sometimes even someone else. And we try to make some appointment with them, and then we try to how to say, we try to get the information, or maybe get the ideas where to ask, where to find, or where to try to ask for a job. And we try to get the information from someone who knows the person well.
Yeah. What are his stronger pros?
Pros and cons.
Strength. Yeah.
Okay, thanks. Business network. Networking is another way of networking is business breakfast. It's something quite popular here in Czech Republic, and there are more than 1, maybe 2 and 3 platforms, and we now participate in one that is called ASO. It's Association of Social Responsible Corporates, and we talk with them about social responsibility. That social responsible doesn't mean only to recycle or to switch off the lights when you are leaving your office. That social responsibility is also to employ someone who has some difficulties. So we try to talk to them about it, and also this is something that helps a lot. We should also mention that we have a colleague named Anna, and she's our specialist for employers, and she visits this events, and she already knows a lot of people from there, and we find a lot of jobs, not directly from these networking sessions, but also someone from the network session can give us contact or whatever, and then we try to contact these firms. Thank you. This is something similar. We present supported employment in some companies that are already in good cooperation with us. For example, this is picture from Avast software, antivirus software. You probably know that. And they employ one guy who works there for already like maybe 4 or 5 years. And Avast is something that a lot of employers is keen of. And then if we try to make this networking session with Avas and invite other employers and to on a good example to try to show them that even they can employ someone like Avas did. Thank you. And also, as I talk about Anna, she is someone who's using her private contacts most of us. Sometimes even I, like 6 months ago, I found a job for one lady in my friend's office. So we try to use the contact that we have on a personal note. Thank you. And I think this is the last slide, and this is more about how we work with employer. And maybe we can talk about it now.
Yeah. And we can switch to the second presentation.
Yeah, if I can ask you to switch to second presentation, please.
Yes, we'll do so. Just a second, perhaps.
Yeah, it's just right at the beginning.
Well, in the meantime, thank you very much for your clear explanation of all the different procedures you go through for seeking jobs. It's interesting to see that you are not only looking for jobs in one area, but using all the different channels that exist. I think the PowerPoint is coming.
Yeah, in next part we are going to talk about communication with the employer, support for the employer, and then some examples of the people that are already working. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's
I
going.
think it's there. Can you see it?
So at the second slide, you can also read how we go through all the process of finding some employer, meeting and communicating with the human resources if they are interested in cooperation and communication with us. We can talk about our organization, how we work, how we help people with finding job, how the process goes. They talk us about their view of the cooperation, and then we try to find the right match to suitable job for the person that is looking for the job, and also suitable position, suitable working hours, and so on. If the person is interested in the work and also the employer is interested in hiring the person, we also help during the job interview, then with the documents, hiring documents, with the paperwork, and after entering the job, we also provide assistance. And in the beginning, it might be full assistance, and when the person learns the job, then there is less and less assistance, and in the end, person is totally able to work without assistance. During this process of cooperation, we also meet monthly with the employer and employee, the self-advocate, for evaluation, how it goes, if there is something they need to communicate about, if there are some challenges, we need to work on it. And if everything goes well, then after a few months, or maybe it's even quicker, we make final plan how they can cooperate without us, and if anything happens, they can contact us. and then it's without cooperation, happily ever after. Yeah, and there are some examples, starting with the third slide. Thank you.
Thank you. This is a lady that works in a Lagardère travel retail. That is company that owns or run a lot of businesses. For example, they have a Costa Coffee, Paul Cafeteria, and Relay. They're selling magazines. And the ladies work in their headquarters, and she helps them to make it beautiful there. She helps them to cleaning and prepare their meeting rooms. She helps them to clean the dish. She uses a dishwasher, and she also refilling the coffee maker. She works there, I think, 3 times a week for 4 hours.
Yeah.
And she works there now for like 2 years, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, another example is on slide number 4. Yes.
Thank you. This man is working in bistro. It's once per week, as he wanted, for 2 hours, and he helps with the dishes. Also clean the dishes, fill the dishwasher, and polish cutlery, and yeah, that's his job.
On the next slide, you will see a man
Yeah.
who works in a Unilever, which is also again the corporate that provides a lot of stuff from food to shampoo and whatever. And he works in a back office, and he works there every day for 4 to 6 hours. Depends on them how they agree to work on. And he works then in office. He sorts and prepare invoices or any paperwork that is needed. But he also work in their storage, in a, how to say, yeah, it's a storage in their office, and he helps to restock goods and stuff like that. And the next slide.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, this woman is working in Lagardère in Costa Coffee. It's a cafeteria. She also works in a lobby. She works with a dishwasher, cleaning the space. I think she works every day, Monday to Friday, for 4 or 5 hours, and it's already 2 years probably also that she's working there. Thank you.
On the next slide, number 7. Yeah, there is a man who works in a kitchen. He works in Don Giovanni Hotel, but according to, not according, but thanks to COVID crisis, he now has to switch his job. He does the same job. He works in a kitchen, but in a Paul cafeteria. As he works every day for 6 hours per day. And he helps us to, I don't know, in many work, like he helped them to make yogurts and muesli or whatever.
Refill juices, prepare baguettes, and it's because the hotel had to close during the COVID crisis. Thank you. On the next slide, you can maybe...
Yeah, this is the man that I work with for a longer period of time. He now works in a warehouse. He works in a company that has a work storage, and he works there. He folding the boxes and he's labeling their products, and he works there for 4 days and 4 hours per day.
Yeah, and the last picture is the man who is working in smaller family business, small shop, where he is unpacking and restocking goods, facing it, like making it, facing is called the stuff that he puts everything in the front so it looks better. And he talks with the customers, and he's working every day 4 hours per day. Yeah, these are the examples of some people who are working at this time. There is more people, of course, but we just chose some of them. And do you have any questions since this time?
Yeah, well, thank you very much for your great presentation. It's nice to have so many concrete examples, and also to see that people have been in employment for a long period of times, not only 6 months, but some have been there for 2 years already. We already received some questions yesterday by email from, perhaps I can start with this ones, and then if the participants have any questions, they can feel free to ask them in the chat, and we'll go through them afterwards. So with the question we received yesterday, it was from Dublin, Dr. Toff Anderson. I don't know if she was able to log in, but she wanted to ask you about the biggest challenges, social challenges faced by clients, institutions and policymakers in making potential step changes. What were perhaps, the biggest social challenges they faced?
Well, we can talk about what we know, but we don't know what others are facing. So usually I think it's very similar to everyone. There are challenges mainly in people's prejudice, that people are afraid to employ someone with any kind of disability, and for some reason people are afraid of learning disability. So I think this is the biggest challenge for us as a society, not to be so prejudiced towards the people with some any kind of disability.
Okay, and perhaps she was also asking, what's the level of engagement of families and of the clients when they are designing the services, and for the future plans and the career plans, I guess?
It really differs from family to family. Some clients or some self-advocates, they don't want us to talk with the family about this, and just when we want to do the planning, the job matching, okay, that's time where we can make brainstorming and get the ideas how to find the work, but they don't want us to talk with the family about what we are doing, how are they searching for the job. And some families, in some families it's different. Person talks more with parents and asking for ideas, what they think about it, and also the parents are looking for the job and searching on the internet and so on, and are in closer cooperation with us. So yeah, it differs from person to person according their relationships, I think, with the family and how it goes in their family.
Okay. Yes, of course, it seems quite logical as an answer. We also have another interesting question. You mentioned during your presentation that some of the people you found employment had changed because of the COVID situation, were impacted because of the COVID. And we have a question saying that it's perhaps a bit too soon to have a clear picture, but do you have any ideas so far on how COVID impacted the employment situation of people with intellectual disabilities in Czechia?
Yeah, so not only people with disabilities hits. I don't know the situation now in Czech Republic. We are living something that is called second wave, and we already excuse me. We had some issue during the first wave when some people were released from their duties and or weren't allowed to enter their job because we, for example, agreed that they will start their job in the next month, but COVID strike, so they weren't allowed to start the job. So we had to start to look for another job and to look again. So yeah, some people it hits a lot, especially the people who are employed in services like cafeteria, for example, coffee. We had the good relationship with them, and we work with them like in maybe 5 to 6 cafeterias in Prague, and now only in 2 cafeterias work people who had a long term.
But do you perhaps have an idea of a proportion of your, let's say, your clients, the people you helped find job, that lost their job because of the COVID? Do you have an idea yet, or?
Well, we have an idea. I think it will be maybe I'll give it number in percent, like 20% of them probably lost jobs thanks to COVID.
It's enormous.
Yeah, it is. It is, especially for people who had a short-time contract.
Yeah.
Temporary contract, for them, it was a huge hit. For those who had a long-term contract, it wasn't that bad, but a lot of people work on a short-term contract, and they were very often released from their duties.
Yeah, and even the searching for the job now, it's more complicated in the way that employers are a bit afraid of hiring new people to their team, and also some people that I was working with are afraid to go outside because of their health. So we need to somehow postpone our cooperation for this period.
Yeah, it sounds like it's not the best time, that's for sure. And but perhaps on a more positive note, how many people has Rytmus already supported to find a job?
In general, I mean.
In general, through the 25 years.
Like, do you have numbers?
Hundreds.
Perhaps, let's say it's a really old organization, so perhaps it's not possible, but let's say, for instance, every year, how many new candidates do you have and how many do you help find a job?
I think that the last year we had like 20 new job entrants or 20 new contracts for the last year, and I think it's somewhere in the middle. Sometimes we go up to 30, sometimes we have less than 20. So I would say it's about 20 people who find a job, and also we cooperate with other 20 or maybe more.
Yeah, and for the interview, each job coach is helping from 5 to 8 people, and we are 5 of us, job coaches. So to have a better view, how many
So
people do we have?
maybe there is like 40 people in service, and 20 of them already found a job.
In 1 year, yeah.
Okay, well, that's brilliant.
I have to say
it
that,
looks like
for example,
yeah.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. I have to say that a lot helped our cooperation with the Lagarde, as we talk about cafeterias like Paul, Costa Coffee, and stuff like that, and they help us a lot. Like they probably 10,
Okay.
maybe more, for the last year. This year it will be probably different.
Yeah. Well, don't hesitate to keep us updated for this year, because we'll be really interested in knowing what happened with the impact of the COVID and how you managed to handle the situation, because it seems like you have quite a lot of experience. So hopefully you'll be able to find a solution that will be a good one. Let's hope. I see that we also have many questions. Yeah, perhaps then one that's a bit related, asking whether there's a tracking system of the long-term success of the employment after the support is no longer needed.
No, we we never, or we tried that, but we weren't able to be in touch with all the people who we supported. Also, I think this is waiting for someone for the diploma thesis when one of our colleagues will be in a study or in the university. And I think this is the good topic for diploma thesis. We've never made any kind of tracking like long term. We know from our colleagues, for example, in supported living, how they are doing and stuff like that, but there is no statistic or something like that.
Okay. And do you perhaps, this is me, I'm adding this question, have many clients who come back after a short-term contract to you for another job position?
Yeah.
Okay.
We have a lot of people who come back when they lost their job for any reason.
Or even when somebody's dream job is long term and they want for a while they are having short term, we are still in cooperation. Our goal is to find the long term for them if they are it's their dream job. So sometimes we don't pause our cooperation. We still are helping them. If
Yeah,
I'm
of course. Okay. And I see we also have a question. You spoke of the different ways you were looking for job offers. There's another question, perhaps on the asking whether you have any cooperation with the local authorities to increase the employment rate of people with intellectual disabilities.
Unfortunately not. We try to persuade some of our of social affairs, and we discussed them for maybe 1 year, and we were hoping for a project that they will employ like 5 to 10 people, whatever, and employ one. He or she works still there, but there is no such thing like cooperation with state.
I think in the Karlovy Vary, we are talking about Prague, but in our branch in Karlovy Vary, they hired also another person, so they are maybe more in cooperation.
Okay.
It's not working.
Yeah.
I see that there's a question related perhaps more on accessibility of the job, with the example of the person who was, I can't remember his name, I'm sorry, putting the stuff on the shelves, knowing that, asking if perhaps the information is written and easy to read, and knowing perhaps if, employers do any accommodation for the job, like.
Yeah.
Yeah. We are working on a lot of stuff during the work. So one of them is also making the job more easier to our clients, and we try to help them even to read write it in it, or we just put the pictures in it, or we use some colors. For example, this kind of chocolate belongs into the I don't know, yellow shelf, or this kind of chocolate belongs into the pink shelf, and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
we trying to make it as easy as is needed.
Yeah. It might be in various types of jobs. We help with writing manuals. What kind of oh Jesus, handra.
What kind of
Yeah, handra.
yeah.
Sorry.
Rack.
Yeah, what kind of rack to use while cleaning the toilet or the table? Yeah, it's different kind of this. Yeah, and it's various types in jobs. Yeah, for example, person might forget sometimes the numbers, so we write down the manual for that and so on, or the way to the work. Yeah.
Okay. So it's really personalized.
Yeah.
Okay. And we had another question also on whether the job was easy for the people who were doing it, and also if they were paid for the work they were doing, and perhaps for the question whether they are paid. It would be interesting to know also if you have any information on the salary, if it's the same as other workers there, or if it's different.
All the works that we are looking for are paid, except the unpaid practice that people or the employer is trying to find a fit. But all jobs are paid. So and usually there is a law that the people with disability cannot be paid less than people healthy, or however you can call it. So usually they have the same amount of money on the position that someone else is on the same position.
Yeah.
And that was the first part of the question, and the second one was.
Yeah, sorry. The first part was whether the job was easy for them. And perhaps you can also, I see there's another question related to that with the job coaching. For how long does the job coach work with the employee, or to get to know the job?
Again, it differs. Sometimes when we find a really good job, then we can finish the cooperation with their new employee and the employer in couple of months, like let's say in 3 months. But sometimes when assistance is needed for a longer period of time, then it can take. I remember that I worked with one lady for 1 year and few months. So it really differs according to their needs and how employer feel it, how the new employee feel it, and how job coach feel it. So it's a like triangle where we try to discuss what is needed and what is not needed. Because sometimes the clients feel that they need the assistance, for example, just to be sure that they are doing their job correctly, but we see that they are not making mistakes for, I don't know, week, 2 or months. So there is no assistance needed, and then it's up to them to work by themselves.
And you mentioned also that sometimes people were employed for 2 hours, for 4 hours. Do you have any examples of people who were hired full-time, or is it mainly part-time? Or
Yeah.
It's usually part-time. I think the some people work, but not much work for 8 hours per day. But I think it works in a, like that's 10% of our class, maybe less, maybe 5%.
Yeah.
okay.
It was lucky that during the first lockdown of COVID, one of our client was hired in a warehouse, and at first and fully, yeah, it was full-time job. After some period of time, he was working 8 hours Monday to Friday. He wanted to switch to 12 hours, but it was like Wednesday, Thursday, and it then switched to the longer week that was Monday, Tuesday, and weekend. But 12 hours. Still working like this, and he's okay.
Also, at least there were some positive outcomes.
Yeah.
I don't know if you have perhaps there not so many more questions. Do you have perhaps something you would like to ask to add? Sorry.
I don't know. We had prepared a really nice presentation with Ivo, who is still not coming. So
I can call him.
Maybe
We
we
have perhaps
give us
some
if
information.
we can make a can we make a short break, and we will try to call Ivo where he is, and then we will.
Yeah, let's say we can make a short break for 3 to 5 minutes and see if you manage to get Ivo here.
Yeah.
to give us his presentation, and otherwise we'll find another solution.
Okay.
Okay. So we will call him, and then we will probably. Now I will just mute ourselves so you don't have to hear it. And then we will.
Thank you.
Perfect. Yeah. Perhaps in the meantime, I can just remember our participants that we have all the material online on diversity management. There's an online catalog where it's interactive and you can go and click on the different papers. There's a policy paper with the policy work at EU level. There's the research done by the Antwerp Management School on diversity management. It's really interesting because it's also done as an inclusive way from the beginning with a researcher with intellectual disability who was hired from the really beginning. And in this research, you also have a lot of testimonial cases. So this is very interesting because you can see the perspective of different people with intellectual disabilities who gave their point of view on being employed in the open labor market. I think Barbara just added the link to our website for the outcomes. If you missed it before, we had some events the last 2 weeks. We had an organization clap. I hope I'm saying it the right way. And last week we also had a professor from Ireland, Antwerp Management School, and someone from the Organization of Service Providers here in Brussels who gave a presentation on employment. You can find both those videos were recorded and you can find them on the YouTube channel. On this YouTube channel, you can also find different videos that were done in the framework of the project and people giving testimonies. So this is perhaps the small recap of the project. Yeah, that's what Barbara just added. The videos are in several languages in subtitles, and as it's on YouTube, you can feel free to use them for your own organizations. It's open. So yeah, let's wait. Perhaps if you want to go for a coffee and come back in 2 minutes to see if Rytmus will be back there. I guess you can leave the sound on and we'll be back in, let's say, 2 minutes. I see they are back. Perhaps.
Yeah, we just talked to Ivo, and he had some troubles or complications, and he can join us in 20 minutes, we guess, we hope. I don't know if is it still.
Yeah, well, complications happen, so no worries. I'm afraid that in 20 minutes it's going to be a bit late, but perhaps what we can do is if he on the phone, did he mention anything particular he wanted to say for this presentation, or is there anything when you prepared the presentation with him that you think you could share with us, and then perhaps we can do, I don't know, a message or something from Ivo to complete later on our video?
Well, we wanted to make a kind of interview that he would describe his experience with Rytmus, how he was looking for a job and how he cooperated with his job coach, and how he found a job where he used our support and stuff like that. So it's nothing particular that I would pick that is something special. It was more about Ivo and his experience. So I don't know what to.
He is still working at the checkpost.
Maybe we can talk about Ivo.
Okay.
Where he had his experience, how we see it. Unfortunately, not how he saw it, but we can tell you how we work with him and how he find a job and where he needed our.
The way you worked with him and to know how the process started and when he started, and if you have his feedback would be interesting to know as well.
Okay. So he started to work with our colleague Blanca as a job coach in March 2019, and he started to looking for a job. And actually, he had no idea what to do because he was just fresh from school, and he was open-minded to try everything. So he had some part-time jobs, for example, in Baumarkt, or how to say, this kind of warehouse where he worked for 2 months. He worked in a Shell petrol station where he worked again 2 months. And
it's interesting that it was his family friend. Yeah, so it's a local network.
It was from his the job. So he tried to work there, and then he had an interview in the Czech Post, Česká pošta. But before that, well, maybe it's important to say that we had a long how to say, negotiation with Czech Post about the jobs that they can offer. We call it kind of job carving, that they pick just some that he can do or our clients can do. And we were visiting the posts to see the environment, the stuff they are doing. and then we offered this kind of job to Ivo.
Yeah, according to his requirements, and his requirements were that he couldn't pick up heavy packages, but he wanted to work and he didn't want to read anything.
Yeah, because he has also kind of trouble with his eyes.
Okay.
In the beginning, he was also training the way to the Rytmus. So they were training it the way, I think, also with the manual.
Mm. Yeah, he was working with Blanca on traveling, how to find a job, either to Rytmus or either to Checkpost, and then he had the interview. He were there, and I think he had the opportunity to pick in like between 4 or 5 jobs that were offered to him, and he chose to do the how to say picking or
and placing the
parcels in the checkpost. And he had a work assistant there for
half a year.
Yeah. At first, he had a assistant every day, every hour, and then we just saw that he is quite capable of doing by himself. For example, I know work on a computer, and he just need help with the orientation in the post where to pick each shell or the parcel. So he had assistance during the time, and then he
also there were some packages that were international. Yeah. So it was a special way how to place it. Yeah, it was a different method. And after some time, we also Blanca, the coach, helped the colleagues and also the employer how to talk,
how to communicate with Ivo.
With Ivo. Okay. Because their team wasn't that open-minded, I would say. Yeah.
Yeah, there was a top manager who was really, he wanted to employ Ivo, but the lower management or Ivo colleagues weren't so open-minded, as Veronica said. So we also helped them to communicate with Ivo, also to help them to not to be afraid to talk to Ivo. Sometimes people are afraid to talk with someone who has disability, so she can say taught them how to talk with each other.
And also
she made a link between him and the team.
Yeah, and also we explained what is the role of the assistant. Why are the new people coming there to their team every day with different person, the assistant? So also in the beginning we needed to settle this. Yeah. Okay. And after some time, job coach Blanca helped Ivo to write or to have a longer term contract, because in the beginning it was just temporary contracts, but he wanted to have the longer term contract, and they needed to communicate with the employer.
Yeah, so she really helped him from the beginning to the
and
interesting
to say that he started to work there on 12th of September 2019. So he works there for 1 year already, and now he works without the assistant, and he works by himself. And now we are trying to not trying, but our cooperation with Ivo is coming to an end because he doesn't need support. Checkpost doesn't need our support, so it's coming to an end
Well,
Happy.
that's great to
Happy
hear such a happy ending story
Yeah.
for the 1-year birthday.
Yeah.
Okay, well, it would have been nice to have him, tell him that we would have been very happy to have him, but no worries. Technical problems arrive, especially in those times of COVID and all, so there are absolutely no worries. And I guess that this webinar is coming to an end. If you have perhaps any last words you would like to say, or any last advice, or something like this.
We were happy to join you.
Yeah, thank you for inviting us.
Well, thank you very much for accepting. It was very enriching to hear your experience, and we hope that it will give some ideas to others to find ways to find job for people with intellectual disabilities, and see that it's in the end something that's possible. And perhaps I'd like also to remember you that on the 9th of October at 2, so same time, there will be another meeting, but this time more on the policy aspects. So it will be on employment and the next disability strategy. So if you would like to attend, you can already register on Inclusion Europe's website and feel free to come in and ask as many questions as you have.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, and if anyone has any question, just contact us, and we will be happily answer them.
Thank you very much. Well, I guess we can say goodbye then.
Thanks a lot. And
Thank you very much. Take care.
take care and bye.
Bye.
Bye.